want to make sure that audio is working.
Updates available for Photoshop CC. Too bad you took away my license. Oh.
Don't update. That's why you don't want to update.
Connor,
you
are
make a
you hearing my
fatal
Minecraft
mistake.
too loud?
No, I'm not.
Too bad you
doing
took
Minecraft.
away my license. Can you hear my inner
Don't
fuckboy?
update. That's why you
What?
Don't.
No.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So that's working. The stream is working. Alrighty. All right. So now let's get it. I'm gonna have trouble figuring out how to get this started. Alrighty, guys. So hello and welcome to the first ever Xpanse Gaming podcast. I'm going to be your host, Connor, or Vertex, and I'm joined with... That's when y'all speak.
What you? Hi, I'm Floop.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Alrighty, so that's Flooper.
I am not Floop.
Alrighty, I'm Levi. But y'all can see their names on the
Yeah,
screen.
I'm Levi, also known as Corrected.
Yeah, so basically that's our Destiny Fire team. Like that's how we've all played together, and that's how we've been playing on PlayStation. So we had the idea of making this podcast to talk about Destiny and really now more other games because Destiny is in a terrible content lull, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, so I guess that pretty much covers all the introduction stuff, so we might as well go ahead and get into the first topic that I wanted to talk about today, which is the special ammo nerf. So for those of you that do not know what went on, what was it, Jake, a week and a half ago that they did this? 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think it was last week because it was for doubles.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So when doubles came out, they basically said, so for all 3v3 game modes, so skirmish, elimination, your trials game mode, and then doubles, we no longer spawn with special ammo. And so that's like really changed things as far as like the way the game has been played, especially for me. I notice it even in non 3v3 game modes. When I'm playing like 6v6, I'll be playing a game of Clash, and I'm either like actively trying to hold my special ammo, or I just run out. Like I pull out a gun and I'm like, I'm ready to snipe this guy, and then I'll pull the trigger, and it'll no special ammo. It's like, okay, well there that goes.
Same. I totally feel that.
Yep.
I kind of expected a lot of like rushing with last word and stuff, and honestly, I haven't encountered that. Like, though everything I've seen is just like people waiting for the special ammo. So it's just the game's become a little bit slower.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people just sitting there spawn on their initial special ammo box and wait, and if you come around the corner, they try to gun you down with scout rifles.
Yeah.
So do you think that was the intended result with this update? Was that they said, hey, let's slow this game mode down even more than it already is?
No, I think what it was to do, and they said it in the update, like when they were announcing it or whatever, it's to keep you from running around the corner right after you spawn and getting gunned down by a sniper who gets in position first. Like you turn the corner and you get headshotted and that's game over.
Yeah.
Like I understand the intent, but I've noticed a lot of people are using Icebreaker, Invective, or a sidearm, and then switching in the next game and having max ammo for their switch 2 gun. And like I use Icebreaker. I've been using Icebreaker, but I don't switch to another special. Like I continue using Icebreaker, so I don't switch to my Steel Piercer and get 18 rounds. So I'm keeping my Icebreaker, but I've noticed a lot of people complaining now about Icebreaker and Invective.
Yeah.
When before they were complaining about shotguns and snipers, and now it's like focused. And
it's just a few.
Yeah. Now it's just focused on those two because, like, even I was on Twitter the other day watching people just bash each other with rocks over Icebreaker and switching and stuff. And it's crazy to me because Icebreaker was my first exotic, so obviously I have a preference for the gun. But it's it's a gun. It's a new play style. It's how people are going to act now. It's a reaction to
Yeah.
something that Bungie put into place, and people are complaining about it. But they could just as easily join and do the same thing, or find a way to counter it. And that kind of helps keep the game interesting, in my opinion. Because if I know that somebody's going to have Icebreaker, I know it's going to take him like 30 seconds to get a bullet in that Icebreaker. And if he misses, that's it. And then he's going to have to wait until the next bullet comes up, or he's going to get mulligan to prop. And
Well, and something I've noticed with it is that like the attitude was like disappointment at first, and like y'all said, I mean, you just use Icebreaker, and it's, you know, it's almost like, okay, well, you took away my special ammo, so instead of using the crutch essentially that is 1,000-yard stare with a short gaze scope on it, I'm just using Icebreaker, and I'll at times just pull the trigger. Like if I'm trying to like outshoot somebody and I've body shotted them or something, I'll just sit there and pull the trigger and keep firing, and then I'll just run out of ammo, and I'll just keep pulling the trigger and wait for the ammo to respawn. And so it's almost made less balance than there already was. You know, I mean, there's a completely new play style that, and it's really affected me, because I just now figured out, okay, well, let me use my Doctrine of Passing or my Last Word, and then put my sniper on, and so then I'll just have those out for close range, and then long range encounters where I used to would have used like scout rifle or something like that, or even old hand cannons. Now I was just using a sniper rifle, and so now they've completely like switched that on me, which, you know, I don't know how much I like it.
It's
at this
funny
point in
because,
time.
like, you know, the obviously the goal with it was to, well, like Jake said, there's, you know, you don't want to get sniped right off the bat. That's discouraging. But I think a little bit, a part of it was they wanted to encourage, you know, a little more diversity, which is ironic because, and so, you know, everyone always complained year one Thorn and Last Word. And Thorn's still a pain in the butt, so is Last Word. But now it's moved on to some stuff. And then a while ago it was, you know, Hawksaw and Nerwins. But now, if you go in 3v3s, all I ever see is like icebreakers and stuff, which is funny. I don't mind the lack of diversity as much because I just kill them anyway. But it's easier for me because you learn how to counter one gun, like Icebreaker, get up close to them. That while they got the Icebreaker pulled out and you're fine. So then if there's a lot of people doing that, it works really well a lot of the time. So I don't mind that, but like it's gonna be harder in a game like Destiny to balance guns purely because of the amount of health you have. Like Call of Duty, you're gonna die almost immediately no matter what's shooting you. Destiny, you have your primaries, which take some time to kill, and then you have the secondaries, like snipers and shotguns, which are almost instant kills. So, which, I mean, if you have a shot, like, you can't make them take less time. So, like, obviously, people are going to rely on the guns that kill quicker, like shotguns and snipers, which, like, why wouldn't you? But I don't know. It just kind of makes it weird I don't.
Well, and yeah, I see what you're saying too, and to further that point, like, you in a game like Destiny, where half of what they like, the excitement that they that people, I mean, that you get from the game is getting these really cool guns, these really good guns that are, you know, I personally still get excited or get anticipated or get some anticipation when I go to
Same.
Raul and undo and what purchase one of his special legacy or legendary Ingrams and hope for another 1,000-yard stare with short gaze, so I don't have to keep moving mine across characters and stuff. And it's a small thing, but it's like that excitement, or like what I was, you know, that build up for the No Land Beyond. And the No Land Beyond is a bad example because it's not good unless it's used correctly. But you know, part of the excitement and the fun of this game is the fact that there are these really overpowered or these really cool guns. And I mean, I think the solution is not necessarily trying to balance every single gun. I think the solution is Bungie saying, "Hey, we realize that this is kind of impossible. We need to just balance, you know, 10 or 20 guns, not 4, which is what it seems like now. And maybe even just have maybe one overpowered weapon of each class type or of each gun archetype, so that you could at least have, all right, if I want to play with a pulse rifle, I can, or if I want to play with a scout rifle, I can. It's just, I feel like, there are ways to do it, but I think Destiny in the state that it's in is unbalanceable, and people aren't going to realize that, and then you run into the fact that, in theory, the meta of secondary weapons was a little bit, it was kind of fun, especially now that we don't have it. It was fun, it was, okay, I'm gonna snipe this dude, it was like me or Jake, we would, even in trials, it was like, okay, bang bang, me and Jake snipe too, and that's really rewarding, and then you would run up and shotgun the next guy. It was, it was a full-on special ammo one-shot kill, because like you said, people want to kill as quick as possible, and those are the ways to kill. So in theory, I really like the fact that we're going to have to use primary ammo, and I just think that I haven't readjusted that, I had basically not used my primary weapon as much as I should have been using, or as much as I did, say, year one in these last couple weeks, and then when they took away this special ammo, it's like, wow, okay,
gotta relearn to use my primary.
Yeah, wait, I actually have to have skill to play this game? What?
Yeah, and that's the ideal result, is to make people that, like Jake, when me and Jake had our first first and only flawless, we were playing with this guy named Cataclysm, and he just kept saying the same thing over, just learn to use a primary, like very bad. He was like, learn to use a primary, because people kept shotgunning him, and it's kind of it made me relearn to use my primary. But some people, instead of doing the ideal relearning to use your primary, went to the crutches a little too much. Jake's use of Icebreaker is fine. It's like,
I'll pull off a headshot and I switch to my doctrine and I shoot the other guy. In almost all of the videos I have saved from doubles, I'll body shot a guy with Icebreaker, I'll back off, get res, and switch to doctrine and then fight him. And he heals, but it's like Icebreaker is a complement to my playstyle. Like my sniper is there as like a security blanket for me, because I know that if I'm not
a complement, not a crutch.
Right. Because I can pull out my primary and I can kill people, but like y'all were saying with the crutch, I've played against kids where I literally didn't see them put away their shotgun. Yeah. Like I never even saw what primary weapon they were using. I didn't see any primary weapon bullets. I would turn a corner and the guy would come sprinting through the door, and I can back up shooting at them with an assault rifle, and they're just sitting there taking it. And he'll power slide, try to shoot me with a shotgun, and I'll go down to like 3/4 of my health, which is like nothing, because my shields come right back. And if he had just put away his shotgun and actually shot me with something that had range, he might have been able to outgun me, because he had the drop on me, but all I had to do was back up. And I
myself have been that shotgunner on many occasions.
Right, and I understand sometimes, you turn a corner and you power slide in, and the guy double jump and does some kind of weird backflip voodoo stuff, and he's across the room, and you're like, how did you get over there? But at the same time, if I'm walking away backwards while aiming down sights and shooting you,
right?
That's what not keep running towards me.
That's what I'm saying. I'm guilty of it, and halfway through it, I'll realize I should have pulled out my primary, but. It's a little.
But you don't use yours as a crutch. You'll stand back and shoot people with when we all used Nerwins that week. You would stand back and shoot people with that. Switch to your chaperone, run in, and just nail them. And it was just it was a compliment. Like the chaperone was there to just finish them off for you.
Right.
Well, and here's the determinant for me of whether or not you're using something as a crutch versus using it appropriately. With Icebreaker, for instance, Jake, what do you say? It takes 20-30 seconds to get a shot of Icebreaker ammo?
When you spawn in, at least when we were playing doubles, when we spawned in, normally by the time I ran up to a normal sniper position, like on Pantheon, where everybody shoots next to the big cube, I could get up to that big cube, look around.
You still wouldn't have ammo.
Wouldn't have ammo, and by the time I got a blip on radar for somebody coming up on us that were rushing, I would get one bullet. And then
Yeah.
if you proc
So my
mulligan, you
point
have
with it
two, but like
is,
that's it.
so my point with it then is that with Icebreaker, you know you are overusing the sniper rifle if you never see your counter of ammo go to 6 shots. That's I mean, now you may be slaughtering
That's also
people, and
possible.
that may be a completely different thing.
Highly
But
unlikely.
like, if you're running around and you never hit 6 shots of ammo, then it's a crutch. That means you're not using your primary for more than 30 seconds at a time, essentially. And and then with invective, I mean, invective's got a little bit of a different
Well,
charge
it's 4
rate,
bullets immediately, but
which
you have
is
to don't you have to use all
right.
4?
Yeah,
But there's
pretty
more of a
much.
time. Yeah, essentially.
Because it's so short
Yeah.
range.
Invective's not as. I mean, it's got ammo regeneration is nice, but it's not as timely as Icebreaker, where you're getting a shot every 20 seconds or so. Which is, I mean, I'm all for Icebreaker. I enjoyed using it during Crimson Doubles. Greek actually posted in chat and wanted to know what do y'all think about the Icebreaker, and I'm going to expand on this, or sidearm in the first round of
Yeah.
trials to get ammo. What do you think about that? As far as, do you think, because like I know I was watching one of the Sweaties tournaments the other day, and they were telling these kids that, or it was Ambo's team, and they were like, hey, and this was like semifinals. They were like, hey, can y'all not do this sidearm glitch out of respect? I mean, we're not doing it, so can y'all not do it? And they laughed and said no, and then got beat. But I mean, like, what do y'all think? I mean, do you think that's just going to become the meta and that's good, or do you think that needs to, something about that needs to change, or do you think that maybe the way that they went about this special ammo was not, or Nerf was not necessarily efficient enough? It may not have given, and they're going to change it.
Okay. I think that if you leave Icebreaker and you leave Invective and you leave the sidearms alone, and you fix where when you switch you still have ammo, because that was an issue with heavies. Like that's always been something that you've been able to do. Like with Sleeper, when you would switch off of Sleeper or onto Sleeper with 1 rocket left in whatever rocket launcher you had, and you would have full Sleeper ammo. That it's always been something. I've played since the alpha, and it's always been something. Like there's always been a
Right.
gun where you can trade out and you have ammo. And like with primaries, used to, when Crota was out, to get ammo for free, you would switch to No Land Beyond or a hand cannon if you didn't have No Land Beyond. And then you would switch to whatever secondary you had, usually a fusion rifle that didn't carry a lot of ammo, or a sniper, and a rocket launcher. And you'd waste all your ammo, and then you would switch to Icebreaker, and that would reload your 6 shots, right? And for whatever reason, when you ran out of ammo, it would proc the spawning ammo thing, but it would spawn boxes like on the ground after you killed things. So you would run out of all your ammo, have out an Icebreaker with full ammo, and kill the acolytes in the Crota room, and they would only drop heavy ammo boxes. And then you would switch back to Gallarhorn, and you'd have like 50 rockets waiting on you in the Crota room.
Not to mention full black
Right?
hammer
Yeah.
ammo.
No. And like it would drop
Yeah.
special sometimes, but like there's always been something, and they fixed that. Like they fixed these things. So there's always been a way to kind of get around ammo stuff that Bungie's tried to put in. But in PvP, it's really more of an issue, because like Icebreaker, for instance, has a little like passive whatever perk, whatever you want to call it. And whenever you kill things, you have a higher rate to drop special ammo boxes, like on the ground. Like enemies will drop them more often.
Right.
It's just like a joke, because Icebreaker can't pick them up, and so it was just kind of like a little screw you from Bungie, and like a joke. But what people used to do is we would pull out our Icebreakers, because it was the first exotic we got, shoot a whole bunch of stuff, and switch back to whatever we wanted and pick up all the boxes. And they've not
Who's
like
laughing
nerfed
now?
that. Yeah, no, but like they haven't like nerfed that, but it just wasn't needed, because we came up with new ways to do stuff and we stopped doing it, and so they didn't have to address it. And it's just, there's always
Right.
been some way to get around Bungie's ammo systems, but in PvP it's an issue.
Right.
like getting galley rockets in Crota, whatever. I mean that it's not cool, but it finishes it faster. And if you've been doing it for 8 hours,
Right. Well, and in PVE, again, like you said, I mean, PVE, you're basically just kind of, I mean, if you want to call that cheating, let's call that cheating for just hypothetically, then you're just kind of cheating yourself out of an experience,
But then,
right? But in PvP, if I'm in trials and I'm trying to play it, quote unquote, the way Bungie intended it now, and so I'm not using a sidearm the first round, or I'm not using Icebreaker the first round, and somebody else is going to just pick up snipes on me the first rounds, that then becomes an issue, right? I mean, now, obviously, I guess they can say, well, everybody just needs to do that.
everybody doesn't have
Force
Icebreaker.
people
I mean, well, and
the game the way
theoretically,
you
you
want.
don't, I mean, yeah, Trials is not the place for year one weapons. I mean, that's the regular Crucible. I mean, that's just, Trials, I think, Trials should be indicative of the year two meta. And if you're bringing this year one gun in that completely busts this new year two meta in, that's a little bit. Now, granted, I mean, this is, I mean, I think we sound pretty harsh. I mean, I love sniping and I love using the sniper rifle, so like, and I like shotgunning for that matter, so like, I mean, obviously we're saying this, I'm trying to stay very removed and objective when I talk about this, but special ammo is a very clean kill, and I think that with them removing this, and if they could find a way to maybe make light levels count more or something, or ban year one weapons in trials, because that would also eliminate Thorn, which you don't see very often, but I mean it's still there sometimes. You would get a more pure playstyle, at least for trials. I'm a big fan of keeping year one guns in the regular Crucible, because every once in a while you want to go back to your year one guns. That's just fun. I mean, that's just enjoyable to do. Like you, Jake, you go back to your Fang of Yurt or whatever every once in a while just to shoot.
Well,
I
I
mean,
switched back
just,
to Lord of Wolves
it's
from House of Wolves.
Yeah, to relive.
Well,
memories,
just because it's fun. It's like
but,
an
I mean,
actually like exotic weapon.
Yeah.
Like it's a shotgun that shoots like a fusion rifle bullet type thing, and it's just weird, and it's a cool gun. And whenever you get shot by it, you're like, oh, like that's what that is.
Or like what I've enjoyed doing is using Pocket Infinity in the Crucible recently. I've been using it a little bit just for fun, and it's not necessarily practical for kills, but it's a lot of fun to use. And when you do outplay somebody, you destroy them. I mean, but yeah, I mean, so basically. I like, and I think Levi and you have said the same thing, Jake. Or I know Levi does, Jake. I know you've kind of wrestled with it. I like the idea of limiting the special ammo and bringing primary weapons back into a more primary role, as they probably should play.
Primary.
But, right, but
I'm not sure that's the right way to do
special
it.
ammo, the way they're doing it may not
And I
necessarily
don't-
be right. And it may be one of those things that like they may say, okay, we've seen the reaction to
Right.
this. We're gonna try.
Well,
I mean, I don't even have a
Um,
suggestion for them, because
Yeah, I think it's a hard one. I mean, if it was an easy problem, they would already have.
Yeah, and I
fixed,
understand how difficult all this is for them. Like it took them a while to fix the Crota thing with the heavy for Galley and stuff. Like I understand that it's difficult, and there's stuff that you're not gonna catch. But even I was on YouTube this morning actually in class. Whoops, and and I was on YouTube and I was watching, and these guys went into trials, right? And they're just sitting there and they're like, hey, what if we do this? And they all make new accounts and they grind them up to level 40, right? And this is like the backstory, like they're playing gameplay and they're talking about this, and then they go into trials with these brand new accounts that they get to level 40, like just power level, and they have on all their level 40 gear, that's like 290 light or whatever, and they get into trials and they switch to their starter gear. Like they save the starter gear from the beginning of the character, and they have the subclasses maxed out.
So once they're already in the game, they switch
Right.
to the gear so that the light restriction
Yeah,
doesn't come off.
and they switch to
Yeah.
it, and they're using like Thorn. No, they're using like
Kavastovs.
Thorn,
Oh, no,
Fellwinters,
okay, they're using-
and like the old zombie apocalypse, whatever, legendary thing, which I actually had, and it's a really fun.
The
No,
Crowder
it's
rocket
a
launcher.
it's like a machine gun, an LMG, and it's a
Oh,
really
okay.
fun gun to use. It shoots really fast and it has no stability at all whatsoever, and it's just hilarious. And they're using like a setup like that, and I mean all of them are different. One guy used the kebab style, and so their light level is like 5, and they're beating these kids in trials, like Trials of Osiris, and it's ridiculous.
It's dirty.
Yeah,
And
that
and
shouldn't
like
happen.
and like I understand that that's fun and it's funny, you know, like
Yeah,
it was
as much
hilarious
as
to
that makes a good
watch
YouTube video.
because
Yeah.
and like
That
you
kind of
know it
defeats the
was like the
purpose of
first few
trials.
rounds because
Like
you know so you
trials
know the
is
guys are
in-game PvP. Like
yeah and like they need to in game modes where your light level matters. I understand that they want to try to include everyone, but they should probably increase the multiplier. Like
But I mean,
yeah,
Trials is
don't
for hardcore players, right? Like, I mean, it's even more so than the
don't
Iron
get me
Banner
started
is
on
now,
that.
and so it's like you know we don't necessarily need to pander to casual players. Yeah, I mean, you can go into Trials and get the experience, but the people that really want to go, go hard, and now it's people will just carry others, and so that's a little bit of a different deal.
but they
It's
still are
become
going to wear
more
their best
like you
stuff.
said, Jake. Yeah, it's like you said, in year one it was a bigger deal. People got more
It was
into
ridiculous.
it. But I mean, it's still supposed to be the competitive game mode of Destiny. And so theoretically, you are supposed to put your best gear on. You're supposed to play the best that you can, and you're supposed to play against other people that are playing their best. And if it becomes kind of another little minor pub
Pretty
stomping
much
ground where
has.
people go in basically to make YouTube videos or stream, basically stream with viewers, which is fine. Like I think I think it's really cool that they're taking people that have never been to the lighthouse. I'm not knocking on that at all. I'm just saying that, I think that Bungie should make it or reinforce that Trials is the competitive hardcore Crucible players game mode, not Sweaties where you have to queue in and go through all this work just to play with the people you want to play with, where they aren't even actually supporting that side. They're like, well, okay, there's this hardcore faction of Crucible players, but Bungie doesn't even basically recognize that they're there, which means they have to support something competitive.
Yeah. Well, and I was reading the other day, and there's a game, Battlefront. It's actually Battlefront, and it came out like what, before Christmas, right? Like a month before Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. Little after Christmas time, like beginning of January, they created private lobbies for Battlefront, so you can get like 5 people and go do the like the ship fights or the hero fights or whatever, and just be with your friends. Because normally what it would do is you get your little like group of friends together in a like a team or whatever it is, however you set it, like a party, and everybody joins on one guy and everything, and you go into the game, and then you get match made to fill the rest of the slots, like like in most games. But what they've done is they've instituted private lobbies where you can go into the giant maps of like I don't know what it's called in Battlefront, but it's like Control, and capture the zones and all that other stuff, and you can go in and just play with like 5 people, and it'll put them on teams and all that, and Battlefront's not a serious game. It was like a fan game. Like they remade an old game for fun, like to make money, and it was like just a fun game. Like and I'm sure there are hardcore players and everything, but like it's a game you'd sit around and mess around with your friends in. Like check it out, Star Wars. It's a fun Star Wars game. And Destiny, trying to be in the competitive gaming field and everything, has had a competition that Red Bull helped them set up where they did PvE strikes and like did speed runs, and that's it. And they like haven't catered to PvP at all, but they want to make all these changes to PvP, and they don't even make it where you can play against who you want to.
Not to mention the fact that PvP is basically the only thing that's keeping them going at this point.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, some people are able to continue to raid, but I mean, those who haven't raided, obviously,
well, and
they're
there's
still
new
working
people,
towards it.
and it was like we were talking about the other day. There's new players in Destiny that got it around Christmas time and after with their paycheck and family money and all that they get, and then there's the people that have been here since day one, and that's really the crowd that you have left at this point.
Right, and to be honest, I mean to run a good MMO, which at the end of the day is what Destiny is supposed to be. You have to be able to cater to both end game players and new players. The good news is that with new players, all you have to do is release DLC every few months, right? I mean they're
With
gonna,
old players,
but
too.
with hardcore end game players, you have to continue to support them, even if you see a trend in something or if they're asking for something small. And granted, these live events are similar to that, and I want to talk about that in a minute. But you have to continue to, and if PvP is the thing right now, then
Well, if you're gonna make all of
kinda
your
have
events
to.
based on PvP at this point, like okay, Festival of
That's
the
another good
Lost
point.
wasn't it wasn't
Festival of the
PvP.
Lost.
It wasn't PvP.
You love
Yeah,
PvP.
it was fun. I'm not
It
bashing it at
was
all.
no, absolutely.
That's the only event that they've released so far that wasn't PvP. And
Poor
under
excuse for a PvE event,
right,
though. This is what I'm
yeah,
laughing
no,
at.
no.
Yeah.
That's not. I'm not supporting it at all.
Yeah,
Like it
no,
was
I know.
fun, but I'm not supporting it as content. It's just like that was PvE. Okay, like you gave us some cool masks, and we had to go around and do stuff we already do, and like no new fights, no funny
Yeah.
little like Halloween fight. The raid bosses looked the same. At one point,
No lines
yeah,
from
no
Cade.
funny. I mean, we got a box of
No
raisins, and I
cutscene.
cried laughing at that when Eris gave us a box of raisins.
Same.
But like, there wasn't like okay, last year, first Christmas of Destiny. Okay,
Yep.
when it came out and it was Christmas time, and they were talking about giving the bosses Santa hats, like Valis and
That would
Atheon
be
and everything.
awesome.
And they're like, yeah, we're probably gonna like dress them up or something, and nothing ever happened. And we were like, okay, whatever, cool. We have Crota now, and we're gonna go beat the crap out
Another
of him.
instance.
And it just kind of blew over. But like they've talked about all this little stuff, and there's so much little stuff they could do like that. Like you could just go redecorate Valis's ship, Imperial ship that he's sitting in, that he walks out of and shoots missiles everywhere. You could put Christmas lights in it. You know what I mean? Like there's so much just little stuff you can do to
Yeah.
change the game world.
Yeah.
And I understand that like you decorated the tower, but like the reef looks the same. All the areas you go to
Yeah, but
same.
and we don't even want to get started on how the tower looked though. Like,
Well, I mean
that
it was cool looking.
but it was
Cool, but like
fun.
at the
But-
same time, it was like you redecorated the social
It's like,
area,
this is-
and that was it.
The place where you really.
Alrighty, so actually, I want to move on really quickly, and then I want to then hit on DLC and the Crimson Days and stuff like that. But I want everybody to kind of go around and talk about their character types just a little bit. What you've been doing with it, or how you've been playing with it, or whatever. So I'll go ahead. So I mean, I made a warlock in PvP.
JK's Warlocks.
And I've been running Sunsinger for what, 2 months now, like exclusively almost. And obviously Sunsingers work well with the fire grenades and stuff like that. But something I really have had fun doing was going on to Stormcaller and using a shotgun melee strike combo, and then the fact that you then have your super is a lot of fun. And so like I've actually been really, really pleased with where Destiny's warlocks have been, because there's 3 very different play styles that you can play with, and they're balanced. I mean, as far as not necessarily related to, okay, they're balanced compared to a Titan or compared to a Hunter, but the 3 subclasses are balanced within each other. Like, if there are times where using a Void Walker would be the best thing to do, and having the Nova Bomb is really, really fun and cool and stuff, and then Blink, obviously is exclusive, and then Sunsinger obviously has the best neutral game,
Yeah.
I would say, and just being able to self-res, if you can self-res correctly. I've gotten some really nasty kills on people, both in just personal vendettas and then or just trying to get a kill streak with it. And then, obviously, the Stormcaller I hadn't played with very much. I mean, obviously I had gotten it all the way up, but I was actually experimenting with the no super thing that we had talked about, Levi, where essentially you just set up your class so that you never use your super, and you use things like the Telelock and these buffs that basically recharge your grenades and your melees as quick as possible. But instead, because of the Iron Banner Rift, I've realized how incredibly good storm calling can be, to the point where I've got a clip where I get 7 kills in one storm call, which is pretty nasty. I mean, so it's a lot of fun being able to play all 3 different types, and I'm really happy with where the Warlock is now as a class. I feel like they've got it. Everything, each subclass has its own like identifier, and each one has its own use, both in PvP and PvP or PvE. And so yeah, that's what I have to say on Warlocks for right now.
Jake, why don't you talk about your hunter self, your hardcore?
Yeah, no, I have 2 hunters and a level. Oh god, I think he's level 20 now. Level 20 Titan, maybe. Woo! And like 15 of those levels were probably my little brother playing around, and so I run hunter obviously, and I have since alpha, and I've never really played anything else like in PvP and in PvE, and I started out PvE, and when I switched to PvP, I watched so many YouTube videos of just how to get better, because I was terrible, and I got to where whenever I activated Blade Dance, I would get like anywhere from like in 6v6, I would get like 5-6 kills, and if I got lucky and my Blade Dance lasted long enough, I'd get 7, and it just got to where like I got to concentrating, and you watch the kill feed, and you pay attention and everything. You look around you, and you get situational awareness with a hunter, and you can really do anything, especially with Blade Dancer, because it's fast, and it has no armor. And then after taking King Dropped, I switched to Night Stalker, and that's what I've been running pretty much exclusively. In some of my Crimson Double games, I ran Blade Dancer just to kind of mess around. Just because when there's only 2 guys, there's not much they can do against a Blade Dancer except super or, snipe you. And, or, shoot you with a golden gun or hit you with a stick.
Right.
And, at this point.
Yeah.
But, I switched to Night Stalker, and especially in 2v2, like in doubles, since that's the most recent thing, I'll get to where I'll use one arrow to tether them, like try to get it in between the 2 of them and tether them down, and then use the other one to shoot them. And
especially on heavy rounds.
I just
trials and stuff. Yeah.
I got really good at doing heavy rounds and doubles with my tether, and I have one clip saved actually where I survive a Gallarhorn rocket because of my tether, and proceed to use the other 2 arrows to kill the other guy. And we won the heavy round, and I was fine, and it scared the crap out of me because a Galley rocket hit me in the face. But it's gotten to where like the tether is really cool because it shuts down supers, but you have to aim it more than you'd think. Like you don't not putting it on the person, but I've gotten to where I'll waste an arrow if there's a super, especially in like Iron Banner or 6v6. I'll waste an arrow to shut down a super and then shoot them with the next one, because if you shoot a hammer or a Stormcaller or pretty much anything except another hunter, it doesn't shut the super down. It hits them and it starts lighting up to shut down the super, and by that point they're already gone or you're dead. And so you have to like time it and everything. And now I even like point blank people with it. Like I had a defender drop a bubble as I went to shoot the tether, and I sprinted into his bubble while popping my super at the same time and like rotating the screen. And I have this new rotating shot that I do where I'll turn a corner like at 90 degrees with my bow already out and fire it like immediately. So as soon as I turn that corner, that arrow
already screaming, "I've got the kill, guys!"
Basically, but it's very situational, or it's very aggressive. Like even though it's supposed to be like a passive like shutdown super, I use it very like aggressively. And I went back to Blade Dancer, and I blinked into walls more than I killed people. And
Yeah, and blink's
Yeah,
still
no,
nasty though. Like I get killed with people blinking around me. You know, it's like where you'll in my frustration you'll hear me stand still so I can
that's
shoot
my
you.
favorite
You know,
thing.
what I mean,
You're
just like
I
yelling.
can't hit him,
Uh,
and I look over and there's this guy
yeah,
just like,
and especially with like last word, I'm over here just blowing shots out, reloading as he's just jumping across the map. But yeah, I do think that from my little experience that playing on Night Stalker is probably the most fun.
well,
and
it's Shade Step.
Also
Y'all,
it's got with Shade Step, the Wombo combo, and the bow. You have like the best tool set of all the other
if you know how to use
classes.
it, and I know that
Right.
sounds like pretentious,
Right.
like you don't
Right.
know what you're doing, but I've had kids like throw. A lot of people use the vortex grenade now, and I've learned that void wall I should probably go back to, but people will throw their grenade and then throw the smoke, and I'm already out of the grenade. And it defeats the purpose of the wombo combo because the smoke holds them down and then the grenade just destroys their health. And I've just seen so many people using stuff incorrectly, and I've seen a lot of guys just destroy me with Shade Step and and wombo combo. But like I see it used incorrectly so much that if you know what you're doing, it's over. Basically, like my Shade Step reses, if I can get within a certain distance of the ghost, it's over. I know I can get past you because like I'm paying attention to what people have out, and it's a lot of trying to keep yourself alive.
It's very
it's
tactical.
extremely tactical.
You're a very tactical player, and you fit the hunter well because like, whereas me or Levi
I smashed
with
stuff.
our classes are able to run a little bit heavier into situations. You know, especially if I'm confident I can get a shotgun or a scorch melee in, or he can shotgun or basically destroy somebody. Whereas you have to be very particular when you pick your engagement. Whereas, like, if I want somebody to move, I just throw a firebolt grenade, and I know within 20 feet he either has to move or he's just going to burn, and then he's one shot, and I can charge
Right,
that.
and Arc
situation.
Bolt used to do that.
Yeah,
And they nerfed Hunter's Arc Bolt, but they gave you our old Arc Bolt, and I'm still a little bit salty about that, but I'm not going to hold it against you.
the Stormcaller's Arc Bolt is kind of an afterthought though. Like I use it to tag people, but
Right,
it's,
well, that's
it's
what-
not. It doesn't have the killing ability that the old Hunter Arc Bolt. Like when I played Blade Dancer.
Right. Well, and I used to have a Blade Dance wombo combo, and it was I would drop my Arc Bolt and use Blink Strike. And my melee, even with my new gear, it's weird. It's like a subconscious thing at this point. If I go into any game mode with my Crucible gear on, I can hit you with Blink Strike, and by the time my character backs off of you and like gets out of the animation and everything, my every other hit is a Blink Strike. Like it recharges so fast that every other hit is a Blink Strike, no matter what. And now that I've started using the Tarantella when I run Blade Dancer, that's like slowed down a lot. But if I put on my old Crucible gear and even my new Crucible gear, it's just immediate. Like it's just there because I also set up my class for the fast twitch, so it has a faster cooldown and everything. And it was just deadly.
Well, and those sealed Aromka's grasps help with that too, because then you get two melee strikes if you want them.
Yeah.
Which is that's what I used to run when I had the blink, because I could just double tap somebody with it real quick. But yeah, I mean, my feel with the hunters right now is that they are, when used correctly, they are the most powerful overall killing
easy to
machine
shut
in
down.
the game. As far as raw,
Every time
they
someone
are.
asks me what class to play, I'm like, Titans take the most damage and deal out just about an equal amount of damage. Warlocks can kind of take damage, like they can survive some stuff if you set it up right, and they can just
Especially
dish
if you
it.
have, like,
Yeah,
the
and they
RAM.
can just dish it for days.
Yeah, we
But
definitely
hunters
have a
can't
lot
take
of
anything
power.
at all, and we just output tons.
You do, yeah, you do put out
Like,
a lot of
especially if you run
damage.
guns.
But again, like you said, it has to be
Right.
used correctly. Like the wombo combo. The wombo combo is completely inefficient if if I'm standing there and somebody throws both grenades at me, if I step up one step before they hit me with the smoke or the void wall,
Well, in
I'm
my
fucked.
shade
You know what I
step
mean?
too,
It's
like they'll throw the grenade at me, and I shade step away from it, and so I'm like 3 feet away from their grenade, and they'll throw their
yeah.
smoke into the grenade, and I'm like, what? What are you? I'm over here.
Well, and one thing that I always hear you saying, or to people, and not as you're bad or anything, but is almost as constructive criticism, is always throw the smoke first, because our tendency is to throw the
And
grenade
smoke.
first
Okay,
because we
smoke
think
does more
killing
damage,
power.
but use snare. Use snare. If you miss them, they'll back into it. It blows up, and